Hello, welcome to the Augmentation of Man with Kent and Renee Miller, where we are bringing the
Yeah,
future.
we're trying to bring the future.
And what does that mean? It means this is where humanity is going,
So,
moving into the conceptual being, able to see the panoramic view of all things.
we've already discussed that,
I
but
know,
now
but for newcomers. And
we've
why
got
don't you tell them where you get your information from?
through deep meditation. Sometimes it'll come when I'm wide awake driving.
Mhm.
Sometimes it'll come when I am in deep meditation. It depends on what they want me to know, how soon. If they want me to know something right away, then they'll tell me I'm sitting right now. It'll come to me.
And
So
who is they?
my mentors,
Spiritual
my guides,
mentors.
my spiritual mentors.
And there's all kinds of spiritual mentors. A lot of people will say, the angels are talking to me or God is talking to
Yeah,
me. Most of the time, it's not directly from God, it's through emissaries of God.
yeah,
So
representatives.
there's spiritual beings, there's many different types of spiritual beings, and they're categorized according to the level of understanding where they're at in their level of
And
understandings.
how we can understand it.
And so humans have been perceptual beings. So we're at like the bottom of the learning curve. And we're learning about perception, being able to perceive things and to learn to understand what we're viewing and what we're sensing. And then as we wrap up this long 30,000 some year cycle of perceptual learning, we are moving into the next learning cycle as conceptual beings. And that is to be able to take all this information in, process it at a higher level, and see the connections of all
If
things.
you're ready to process it.
And not
But
all
not,
humans are ready.
that's right. Not all
Yeah.
humans are going through this, what we call this change, which is coming very, very soon.
We are in the middle of the transformation right now.
Yes.
And
So,
there are many, many things that are happening.
so we're going to give a video now, and then the second video will be all the predictions that I've gotten since 2007. Give the date when I got it and what I got. And as you'll see, the majority of the predictions have come true or are coming true right now.
And
So,
all of these events that are happening are meant to, one, prepare the field that we live in for the next learning cycle, but also it is to shape and mold humanity to
yeah,
become more aware and more conscious. We've been asleep at the wheel, and like it or not, there's a lot of negative things going on, but it is meant to bring us
it's part
to certain points.
part of the learning process.
It's part of the learning process. It's part of learning how we've been, the consciousness has been manipulated here, how we've been controlled, but it's also preparing the earth for new land mass to
And that's
support our new learning
that's what's important.
and to rebalance the earth.
Yeah.
And it's also all these events, unfortunately, are going to bring humanity to its knees.
Yeah.
And in that, there's some very positive things that come out of it. One is when we are in such dire straits, we usually turn to God, and that is one point of it. The other is that when we do that, we have the reconnection with a higher self, which is part of the soul that guides the learning process. And then the higher self starts to take control again. And we start to realize the value of life, why we are here, and which is about the learning. And then we start to put the focus on the learning that is available within this sphere that they call an experiential learning field. And so from then, humanity starts to take off in our conscious understanding and connection to the universe and other universal beings.
Well, those that are wise listen to the legends and stories of the native peoples of the world. The tribal elders tell us that everything is out of balance. And they predicted everything would become out of balance as it is now. If you want to learn wisdom, touch, contact, and have them trust you to be able to tell you the stories that have been passed down through centuries and centuries of native people, what the wise men and the elders have said is going to happen, and follow the path of the wise ones. Those that will do this will come to the other side of this veil with healing and happiness. Those that do not will not make it through the veil. Many things are going to happen. We said there's going to be chaos, but it's chaos that you've never seen before. And it still hasn't happened. It's coming very, very soon. Not to scare you, to prepare you. As the native people would say, prepare the walking path, the red path that you can walk with your brothers.
And the reason why we bring up the Native American spirituality is because it was
Native Americans are native people.
that, well, yeah, and they are Native people, but for us, we're more connected with Native Americans because that's where we live. Um, the Native peoples and their spirituality is deeply tied to the earth and balance and what the earth has to teach us. So even the smallest of creatures have something to teach us.
But
And
not all native people. The young people are going towards what we see as not the good things. We're talking about the wise ones. If you want to learn, you go to the wise ones.
yes. And so we're going to get into that. And I want to say really quickly, for those who've been watching us for a long time, you'll notice our background has changed. And part of why we haven't been very active with our videos is because we have been moving.
They
And
haven't told us to move
yeah.
to where we are now.
So we received 2 or 3 months ago a couple of messages that were very obscure. And a couple of videos ago had said, it's going to take me a while to figure this out. We've been really busy with this house, building this house and moving. But I finally got around to one of these lessons, and we're going to get into it. I am not going to give the original language because it'll take too long, but we're going to give our interpretation of that language. And so this message is based on what the outside entities are projecting for the outcome of the human race.
Yeah, many discussions in the spirit realm regarding humanity's outcome in the coming events.
And I want to interject here that there are many discussions by outside entities what to do with the human race. And they have been actively planning for events to unify us and to turn our path around to what we should be doing, which is focusing on the learning and to be in balance with the earth and in our spiritual development and with God.
It seems like they are saying they have conviction in the belief that humanity will become aware of and begin pursuing consciousness, in part due to the uprising of the higher self within. Okay. This occurs at a time of the alignment of Neptune and the outer planets.
And so there's timing is everything, and it's correlated with the planetary alignments. So they're telling us that when Neptune is already aligned with certain major planets, but then there's probably minor planets that there was a fine tuning to occur. And that's coming up pretty soon.
And people are irritated with those that are called learners, or they call them geeks in society.
Which is kind of a negative perception of learners.
So what the spirit world calls conceptual beings, that's what people call geeks.
Mm-hmm.
So but humanity, even eventually humanity will acquiesce to the value of learning. That's what it is all about. It's all about here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
We think we got a bit higher purpose other than learning, like materialistic accomplishments, etc. But if you don't learn here, what's the value of being here?
And I want to say that, it's been in the past few decades, there's been kind of, by some people, this disdain of people who are intelligent or people who are the big learners. And there's been an emphasis within certain groups of people to be cool, and to do things and wear certain clothing,
etc.
that fits into being cool.
Yeah.
And it's not cool to be smart, but it is cool to be street smart.
Yeah.
We're going to be moving away from that.
Yeah,
And so what was once a negative perspective of the high learners in society now will shift, and we will all want to aspire to be like that.
So we said, why are the outside entities coming here? And they said, they are going to come here to strengthen the grid. And then she asked, what is the grid? And it says, is a way to describe to us the grid acts like what the banks of a river that holds the water in place. That's what the grid does. Not allowing the water to disperse and go aimlessly whichever way it goes. The grid holds the universal plasma energy that carries the light in a stream as it courses through the universe itself to the cosmos, carrying universal consciousness. There are at least several of these plasmic streams. One is source, which carries a higher level of intellectual information above human understanding. The other is called the neural net, which is a plasmic neural net, a cosmic neural net, which humans can tap into for quick information or can be helped to tap into for the information they need at that particular time. That particular person will relay this information to the lower beings, basically, so they can be understood.
So I want to talk about the difference between source. A lot of people have a misperception about source. They view source as like the highest of intellectual energy, which is correct, but that source is God, the creator, and it is a tool of the creator, a communication tool. So, source is an energy stream of highly intellectual information that comes from the creator, but higher entities, much higher intellectual entities than humans are part of that network, that communication network. They can tap into the source energy and understand it. And what they do is they decipher it, interpret it, and then reword it in other terms, simpler terms for humanity. So when we are getting messages, when Kent goes into a deep meditation or trance, he's really more of a trance channeler. Um, and you raise your vibration when you're doing that, then when you raise your vibration, you're able to communicate with beings that have a higher vibration, which is equivalent to understanding. So they have a higher level of understanding. He receives these simple messages, but yet for humanity, when we receive them, they're not in the language that we normally
Yeah, they're
speak.
not the simple language.
What they do, and I'm gonna grab this book, is they use our Greek and Latin root words, and the language that they use is very dynamic. So they can piece together root words, create words that are not necessarily in our dictionary, but that have meaning, and it can more
Mm,
it mirrors what the concepts that they're trying to teach more closely. But it takes a lot of time when you're receiving this kind of these words. It takes a lot of time trying to decipher them because you have to go to the dictionary and you have to try to figure out what all these root words mean and what the entire word
Yeah,
means.
they're trying to increase our consciousness.
They are.
Not all humans will receive
They
an
don't.
increase in consciousness, period.
And also, a lot of channelers don't receive messages in this manner. And I was confused at first when you first started channeling. I just assumed that other people who channeled weren't really channeling because they were getting really simple language like the way that we talk. And so at one point, somebody asked me, well, why do they talk to you that way? Why do they make it so difficult? And I started thinking, wow, I never really thought of it that way. I just assumed that the people who really did channeling all got the same kind of language to be deciphered. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but they value that. They value the work that we put into
Yeah.
deciphering. So when Kent was meditating or channeling, I had the opportunity to ask after that, and I asked, why is it that we receive the messages in this language as opposed to others who receive messages in
It's simpler,
a
right?
simple language? And the answer was because we knew you would do it.
We knew that we do the research.
We would do the research and
Yeah,
put the work in. And so, and like I said, they value that. They value the work that you put in to make your conscious
okay.
evolution happen. And so that's why.
So anyway, they told me that man will begin to show an essential mindset toward a strong movement to find truth. Man wants to know the truth. humanity wants to know the truth. And at the same time, the falsehoods, and there are many falsehoods, will begin to fade,
Hmm.
and the truth
Will
will
prevail.
prevail, a supporting movement. But you can see there is an abundance of falsehoods now. This undermines the natural laws, the cosmic laws, and all laws.
Hmm.
Reliable understanding, reliable understanding is not here yet, but soon we'll have the full truth. But it's getting harder to determine what is truth and what is false.
Hmm.
With this AI, many falsehoods are added, and it's hard to tell what is truth and what isn't.
But on the flip side of that, we were told that this is going to instill a drive in humanity to find the truth. So what happens when you find out that you've been deceived? You have this instant, okay, what is the truth then? And that's what this is meant to do. So it's all these falsehoods are coming to a head, and there's all
Yeah,
the conflicting information because each generator of that information has an agenda, but it's causing a lot of confusion within the human race. But in turn, that's going to instill this desire within us to really dig in and find the truth for ourselves. And so that's the final object of
yeah,
all this is to instill within us that desire to learn and to
yeah.
find the truth.
So in late January of this year, there was considered a rare alignment of 7 planets. And we asked about this, and it said alignment is preparing for the coming movement to improve the unification process. Now, the unification process will be tearing apart the unification and bringing everyone back together under a certain event.
Wait a minute, you said tearing apart the
Well,
unification.
tearing apart the process, not really unified, and bringing everyone back together in a unified
Yeah,
process.
but that's kind of the final step because what they're
Yeah,
doing
but
is there's all these fields and they're bringing these fields together into a
they're
unified
trying to guide the
matter.
process.
And so there's all these unseen fields that are going to be intercepting and unifying so that everything is in alignment. And then
Well,
because we are part of that field, then humanity also becomes
it
unified.
takes quite a bit to bring all these interconnected fields together to unify them. Very meticulous work.
It
But
is. And so a lot of the entities are guiding the process. And at one point, we had the Holy of Holies come through a meditation and um, describe that they are directing all of this. And all the other entities are working at their direction to bring this all together. So the changes that are coming here for humanity is just unbelievable. We just are so unfortunately not cognizant of everything that is being done on our behalf to bring this together
when we are in this field, we're told to follow the direction or the diversion of the field itself. And
or the
that's really
energy
right, and really hard to do when you're not cognizant of the people around you that
or
look
what's
at
going on
what's
around
going
you.
on. Yeah. So we need to watch the field, the changes and the direction of this unity which is coming.
And, when we first began this path, we had been given several exercises to make us more conscious of what was going on around us. So when you start to watch all the little tiny details then
And
you start to see things in a holistic way. And there's a lot of almost like miraculous
yeah,
things
people
that
don't look
start
at details
happening.
at all.
Yeah, we just kind of go through life looking at just the big things, but when you start to notice all, the little flowers and the little critters and
Or,
why are they
or
acting
the
that
time
way?
numbers.
And when their behavior changes, you start to wonder what is happening here at a base level to make these changes. And so it's only when you're paying attention to all the minuscule things that you start to realize the changes are here. And um, we need to be very
Cognizant.
cognizant and watchful for those changes. So one, things will get worse, and we need to be prepared for that. And you want to be watchful for the signs that, are going to necessitate you to have to do things like, you're going to have food on hand and a clean source of water and things like that, but also the minuscule things like migratory changes within the animals that migrate. That is going to show you how the earth changes are upon us.
Yeah, so
And then there will be other things that within the energy field that show, wow, look at these miraculous things happening. You start to see perhaps the spiritual entities, like what we would call ghosts. You start to see things like that. So there will be other things that are very
available then, but we
the
just don't
veil will
see.
thin, right? And you'll be able to see the other side and really be very what's the word I'm looking for? Just in awe of it all.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway,
we asked a question. So what should humanity be doing now? We
mhm,
were curious in that. It says we must open up to understanding each other. Get that? Understanding each other.
that will help in the
Yeah.
unity
But
process.
not all humans are open to this. In fact, the majority of humans are not open to understanding each other.
Mhm.
They want to declare their own parameters and fight, and they think the strength that they possess and expose will make them stronger yet, which they are totally wrong. We haven't seen the worst of what's coming yet. So, but in the end, the happiness will prevail, and the character of humanity will possess a keen mental discernment and perceptiveness. The outside entities are here to cause an effect within the human race, and it begins a process. But when I say human race, I hate to say it, but 80% of the human race is not ready, or it could even be higher, is not ready for what's coming, is not attuned to the earth, is not attuned to the effectiveness of the wise ones and listen to their calling and their direction, is not attuned to unity. We are all humans, and that's what I'm getting at. We are all of the same species, even though we're different colors, different races, etc. It makes no difference. Once we understand each other, then we can go forward. But we cannot go forward if we push each other back and do not try to understand each other. And it becomes the me syndrome, which is very destructive.
So with that, I think we'll close here and thank you for joining us. If you get something out of this,
Yeah.
please subscribe. Please hit the like button because I think at this point we're going to start increasing our videos once again, and we're at a critical juncture. We need to remind people of certain things. Our next video will be a big download of predictions that we received going back to 2007. And so that may be very interesting for some people. So share it, share the videos to others who you think might also be looking for that information.
Yeah. Today I'm fighting allergies, so that's why I've got these bags.
Thank you for joining us. And as always, peace be with you on your journey to enlightenment.
Yeah.
Take care.